Dumb football questions. Here's one from Dan Henneman. What do you guys think of the XFL-USFL merger? So they merged into one spring league entity called, is it the United Football League, right?
Yeah, UFL.
What do you guys
I got
think
a couple
of this?
clients in it. I like it. I am kind of sad that so what happened was they merged, right? But so what really happened was 8 teams went away, right? Because there was 8 USFL, there was 8 XFL teams. And so there was a lot of guys that had opportunities. Now, I will say the quality and the level of football was not very good.
Yeah.
And I think that's why they decided, like, we need to cut this down and get the really talented players. And I think the NFL backed it a little bit, right? They didn't, like, throw all their weight behind it, like, yeah, we'll help this. Like, they backed it just enough to be like, yeah, we'll get some guys. And I mean, I tell clients all the time, like, and my partner, Zach Zenner, he says it great too. He's like, if you get cut out of the NFL as a rookie, why wouldn't you want to go make some money actually playing football, right? And get some tape out there and get film. Because if you get cut out of a rookie season and you only have maybe 50 snaps to your name in the entire preseason, it's hard to get back in the NFL. But if you can go play a full year and dominate in a league like that, you're going to get a shot. Yep. Like, especially at the premier positions, right? Receiver, corner, tackle.
What do the highest paid players in those leagues, like XFL, USFL,
100 plus, maybe 100
like,
plus,
like
maybe.
would it
Which
be
isn't
worth
bad.
If 100%. You're like, but if you're
for
like
3 months of work,
it's awesome.
Like a Jaron Hall, like these rookie guys that come in. Would the NFL teams ever allow those guys?
No.
To go in
Never.
and get reps.
No. And that's the thing that's going to be always tricky is the NFL will always separate itself from everything else. And if you're signed into the NFL, you're not allowed to do anything else. That is it.
It's in your contract. It's in your contract.
Like, yeah, you're not allowed to go play anywhere else. You're not allowed to play any all-star games. You're not allowed to do any nonsense, like stuff like that. I love this idea, though, because it is still trying to develop people. And I think it's still an opportunity. I agree with Jay, and that's what I was going to say was I think they looked around and they were like, hey, there's too many teams and we don't have enough money. Whereas we should just merge this together, combine all of our resources, and continue to develop players. Because when I came into the league, they had the NFL Europe. And that's when guys would go over to the NFL Europe and they'd play, and then they'd come back over here. And then they got rid of it. And so then all of a sudden everybody was like, well, if you don't make it, you don't make it. So I love it. And I think that Jay's right. I think that if you're a young, I'm not even say rookie, if you're a young player, year 1, 2, maybe even 3, and you still want to keep playing, you don't want to go make $75,000, $100,000 playing football for 3 months messing around. Like just having fun, building connections. And that's what people don't understand. You're never going to sell anybody unless you have film and a coach standing behind you that knows someone that goes, this kid's worth it, right? You have to go in there and prove that to them. You have to show them I'm committed. I'm dedicated. Nothing says I'm dedicated by playing semi-pro football and saying, hey, I want to be here with you guys. I want to learn more, teach me more. And I say this to guys in the gym when they ask me like, hey, what do you think I should do? I'm like, listen, I think if anything, you should go build connections. You should go see what Coach Stoops says. You should go in and shake his hand and talk to him. And then all of a sudden there's a connection for you. He's going to go reach out to his friends when he sees you putting in work, and he's going to go, hey, this guy's a fucking grinder. You're going to love him. That's it. Guess what? I don't need to see any tape. If I'm a GM or a coach and I have a trusted friend that calls me and goes, hey, you're going to love this guy, bring him on.
Goes a long way.
Here we go.
Yeah. I like
this league is.
Now, the
awesome.
merger's been an absolute shit show. Like, I mean, total shit show.
Does the Rock still kind of
own
like, it? Or?
Think about it on this front. Like, the USFL has, like, a players union and, like, all that stuff. The XFL did not. Right. So now you're talking about merging unions and merging coaches union. And, like, it's been a shit show. And, like, they have, like, these dispersal drafts. And, like, it's been a nightmare. Like, once it gets off and running, I think it'll be better. The thing I don't love about it, this is like my one qualm. I loved the XFL schedule because the XFL schedule, the season ended in May. So that allowed guys to have a full year of tape, and then teams could pick guys up for OTAs, right? And you could bring them in the building right when all the rookies got there, and they'd have a fresh start to really try and go make a push to make this team. The USFL schedule ends in like June and July. And so guys are going to get picked up and just thrown straight into training camp.
Right.
It's tough. A long haul to make when you haven't been there through all the installs of OTAs and all the player stuff, and you just get thrown right into training camp. That's a harder road to hoe to make a team. But the good news is you should be in shape, like coming in, but you're going to be beat up from a season. Like, I just don't love the timing. I wish that the USFL would have adopted the XFL schedule of getting guys ready so they could get thrown in there for OTAs in the summer program.
You know, I've wondered too, like the NBA does a summer league for the non-veteran players. You have to be 2 years experience less, or it's guys that like they fill out the rosters with guys who are just kind of tryout players. And it becomes this mecca. It's like a 3-week sort of tournament, pool play in Las Vegas. It becomes league meetings, everything. And I've wondered if the NFL, because, you know, in the offseason, you guys have 90-man rosters. There's a bunch of dudes that aren't going to have any shot at actually making a 53. If they would ever, even for entertainment purposes, if the NFL would do like a 4-week summer league or something from, you know, late May to late June, or if it would just be too much of an injury risk.
Too much risk.
And not only that, but June to July, like once you break from OTAs, they are literally like, do whatever you need to do for the next 3 weeks, because after that, there are no more days off. There are no more days. So if you were about to tell a coach, like, hey, I need you to come coach in this, he'd be like, fuck you, dude. I'm going on vacation. Like, you're not going to see me for another year. Leave me alone.
Imagine your second-round pick rolls his ankle in the 4th week of the summer league, and he's going to miss all of training camp, and he's going to miss the first 2 weeks of the season. It's just not even worth it.
Yeah. Yep. All right, we gotta run here because we got to do a
one
film
more
breakdown.
Oh,
one more.
One
more. We'll do it quick.
Okay,
we'll be quick. I promise.
Okay. That's what he said.
So I
his
tell my wife.
Yeah,
I knew you were going to go there. I'll be quick. I promise. I need 2 minutes of your time. I just need 2 minutes of your time.
I need like 25 seconds. Zuby 2000 says, as fans, we look at playoff brackets and hope to avoid certain teams. It's because you're a coward, Zuby. No, I'm just kidding.
Cowards.
Yeah.
Cowards.
As a Ravens fan, I'm terrified of the Browns. I don't want to play the Browns in the playoffs. Do players care about matchups in the playoffs? Do they look to avoid certain teams? Are you cowards?
So you don't look to avoid anyone, but I will say this: playing a divisional team in playoffs is tough.
It's a third time.
It's tough. A third game is a total coin flip. Right, because especially when like you've split, because they're the only team. Dorian Thompson-Robinson is the only quarterback in the division that took down the Ravens. Right, and like you're so familiar with each other, and you know how each other tick, and you know you don't. It's not that you're afraid. It's just if you draw a divisional matchup like quickly in the playoffs, like it turns into more of a. It doesn't matter who was the better team or not. Those games are total coin flip. It's just like the end of last season. At the end of the season, right? Like Panthers, Bucks. Right, like you look at like Detroit and Minnesota, like those divisional games are always such coin flips because you're so familiar with each other and you just know everything about each other. So yeah, it's a tough draw, but that's what makes it so fun.
Yeah. I agree, and I think that if you see a Ravens-Browns game in the playoffs, like in the conference championship, dude, inject it into my veins. It's just like when you're in the season and you're playing a conference team, you like the minute this game comes up, you pull out an old notebook and you're just like, I got every note from years of what these guys, I have every one of their blitzes, what this guy does. And then all of a sudden you go into the playoffs and you're like, scrap everything. Everything's out the window because it's win at all costs. So you're not even thinking logically at the end of the game. You're literally just like whatever it takes to win. So it really is. That's the only thing you don't want to see in playoffs. Other than that, that is never talked about. It's never like, oh God, we're going to play the Ram. Oh God. Are we going to play the Houston? Like you're just like, God, I've seen these guys twice. They know everything about me. Are we going to get creative
from an individual level too, right? You're like, this dude knows how I pass
hit me with that move again.
Like this dude, like I gave up a sack in week 6 to this move. Maybe he's gonna. Like, you can overthink it like crazy.
Chasing ghosts. Oh, it's the worst.
So it's less about like, oh my God, that they won 13 games and scored 56 points.
Oh no, like I said, we're all in the
about the chess match.
Records
and the
are out.
Yeah.
Records are way out. Nobody even cares anymore. It's like, hey, this must be a great team. They're doing something well. Their defense is playing lights out. Their offense is playing well. They're not turning the ball over. Like everybody's here for a reason. And now you just stop and go, what do we do well? But yeah, you see a conference team for a third time.